23 German sentries are dead. Not a single shot, not a single alarm. Smolensk region, winter of 1943. Partisan zone. The Germans counted their sentries. Every morning there was a check, and every morning garrison commanders found empty posts. The sentry lay in the snow, helmet pierced, skull too, but the rifle was nearby. He did not fire, did not even touch the whistle. German counterintelligence was at a loss. A sniper? No, the distances were too short, 10 to 15 meters. A knife? But how to approach unnoticed across open space? How to kill a man silently from 30 meters and in such a way that he did not even have time to scream? The answer was ridiculously simple. So simple that the Germans figured it out only after 4 months, when it was already too late, when the sentries' nerves were at their limit, and every night patrol turned into a lottery with death.
To understand how this became possible, one needs to meet the man who turned a children's game into a weapon of war. His name was Timofey Vasilyevich Voronin, 26 years old, senior sergeant, scout of the partisan detachment named after Chapayev, operating in the Dukovshinsky district of Smolensk region, native of the village of Beryozki, 30 versts from Vyazma. Father Vasily Petrovich, blacksmith. Mother Maria Ivanovna, primary school teacher. Elder brother Nikolai died near Vyazma in the autumn of 41. Younger sister Katya went to the partisans with their mother in the spring of 42. Where they were now, Timofey did not know. In Beryozki there was a good blacksmith. Vasily Voronin could shoe a horse so that it did not limp all winter. He could repair any lock, and he also made toys for village children, whistles, spinning tops, and slingshots. Vasily Voronin's slingshots were legendary throughout the area, carved from a birch fork with rubber from automobile inner tubes. Accurate, powerful. With them, one could knock down a thrush at 20 meters or hit an apple on a tree. Timofey began shooting with a slingshot at 6 years old. By 10, he never missed. By 15, he could hit a coin from 20 paces. His father said, "You have an eye, son, a God-given gift. Cherish it." Timofey cherished it. After 7 years of school, he went to vocational school in Vyazma. He studied to be a locksmith, studied well, golden hands like his father's. After school, he got a job at an agricultural machinery plant. Third-class lathe operator. Precision to a 1/10 of a millimeter. The shop foreman valued him, said, "You will be a master." He did not become one. Timofey met June 22, 1941, while fishing. He sat on the bank of the Vyazma River. The fish were biting well. Then he heard a strange rumble. Many aircraft. He raised his head and saw crosses on the wings. 2 days later, he came to the military registration office. They gave him a rifle, taught him to march and shoot for a week. Then they sent him to the 43rd Rifle Regiment. First battle near Yelnya. The Germans were advancing. Soviet troops were retreating. The regiment was melting away. Timofey saw how people fell, many people. He saw how villages burned, how women cried on the roads. By October of 41, less than a third of the regiment remained. Timofey was shell-shocked near Vyazma, came to in a medical battalion. Then evacuation, chaos, panic. Somewhere between Vyazma and Gzhatsk, he fell behind the column, got lost in the forests. For a week he wandered along partisan trails. Partisans picked him up. Mikhailov's detachment, locals. The detachment was small, about 40 people, poorly armed but fierce. The Germans feared them. "Can you shoot?" asked Commander Mikhailov, a man about 50 with a gray beard.
"I can, Comrade Commander, and I am learning to fight." Mikhailov grinned. "Everyone here is learning. Those who do not learn lie in the ground. You will be in reconnaissance. Reconnaissance in a partisan detachment is not the same as in the army. It is not staff maps and reports. It is night, forest, a village with a German garrison. It is creep up, look, count, return or not return. The first time Timofey went on an assignment was in December of 41. It was necessary to find out how many Germans were in the village of Krasnaya. 2 others went with him, Grigory Sukov, a local hunter, and Pyotr Dyatlov, a former policeman. Sukov was older, about 40, thin, taciturn. He walked so quietly that not even a twig crunched under his foot. He taught Timofey to move in the forest, taught him to look, taught him to wait. "Do you see the path?" Sukov whispered. "Do not walk on the path. Do you see a clearing? Go around it. When you walk, stop every 50 steps. Listen to the forest. The forest will tell you if a German is nearby." Timofey learned quickly. He had good hearing, good eyesight, and patience. Much patience. One could lie in the snow for an hour 20 meters from a German post, not move, count soldiers, remember where the machine gun was, where the wire was, where the entrance was. By the spring of 42, Timofey Voronin became the best scout in the detachment. Mikhailov sent him on the most difficult assignments. Voronin always returned with accurate information, with maps, sometimes with a prisoner. But there were things that gave no peace. Sentries, German sentries at posts. The partisans needed to penetrate villages, blow up warehouses, cut telephone wires. But they always stood in the way. Sentries with rifles, with submachine guns, with whistles. Standard tactics: take out the sentry with a knife, creep up from behind, hand over mouth, knife in throat, quietly, quickly. But this only worked if the sentry stood by a fence, by a tree, somewhere one could creep up to. But if the sentry stood in an open place, at a crossroads, by a bridge, at the edge of the forest, where there was snow all around and not a single shelter, then nothing. They went around, postponed the operation, or went head-on. And then the alarm was raised, the Germans ran, shooting began. Someone did not return. Timofey Voronin thought about this a lot, especially at night when he could not sleep, when he remembered the faces of those who did not return, when he heard the crack of a machine gun and screams. There were nights when he dreamed of his brother Nikolai. They sat together in the smithy. Their father was forging something. Sparks flew. Nikolai laughed, then turned to Timofey and asked, "Why are you alive? I am dead. Hundreds are dead, and you are alive. Why?" Timofey woke up in a cold sweat, lay there, looked at the ceiling of the dugout, thought, "Why am I alive? Because I am careful, because I am skilled, because I am lucky." But luck is not eternal, caution too. Sooner or later the sentry will hear, sooner or later the bullet will find. It is only a matter of time. Timofey had one habit. He always carried with him a small leather pouch. In the pouch was a handful of earth from Beryoski, from his native village. He took it when he left for the front. His mother gave it. "Carry it, son. Native earth will protect you." He carried it, and every time before an assignment he touched the pouch, whispered, "Protect me, mother. Protect me." Did it help, or did he think so? In the spring of 42, Mikhailov's detachment merged with another partisan detachment. There were more people, more weapons. They began to take more serious targets. The Germans began the hunt, combed the forests, burned villages where partisans could hide, shot hostages. The war was becoming harsher, fiercer. In July of 42, Timofey became a senior sergeant, commander of a reconnaissance group. He had 5 people under his command, mostly young.
He taught them what Sukhov had taught him. Some learned well, some did not have time. Leonid Petrov, 19 years old, from Yartsevo, did not return in August. German machine gun on the outskirts of the village of Bolshievezhi. Leonya ran across the field, almost made it. 5 meters to the forest. Did not make it. Anatoly Zhukov, 22 years old, local from a neighboring village, did not return in September. He wanted to take out a sentry at the railway bridge. He crept up, but the sentry heard, turned around, shouted. Zhukov managed with the knife, but the alarm was raised. Machine guns. Zhukov managed to reach the forest, but the bullets caught up. Ivan Kovalyov, 20 years old, student at Smolensk Pedagogical Institute, did not return in October. He fell through the ice on the river. They were returning after an assignment. The river had frozen, but the ice was still thin. Ivan walked last. The ice cracked. They tried to pull him out, did not have time. Cold water does not forgive. 3 in 3 months. Timofey blamed himself. The group commander is responsible for his people. Did not protect, did not teach, did not foresee. Mikhailov said, "Voronin, people die in war. It is not your fault." "It is, comrade commander. I am senior. I should have." "What should you have done? Put armor on them? Attach wings?" "You did what you could. They died for the motherland. They died honorably." "Honorably, yes, but that does not make it easier." In November of 42, the detachment was renamed. Now they were the partisan detachment named after Chapayev. A beautiful name, a fighting name. That did not make it easier either. Timofey Voronin did not know that in 2 months his life would change. That he would find the answer to the question that had tormented him for more than a year. That he would invent a weapon about which the Germans would write in reports. A weapon that does not miss, makes no sound, leaves no traces. But for now he simply did his work, went on reconnaissance, taught new fighters, tried not to think about those who did not return. And sometimes, on cold November nights, when it was especially quiet in the dugout, he took the leather pouch from his pocket, squeezed it in his hand, whispered, "Mother, give me strength, give me wisdom, give me a way to protect my own." He did not yet know that the answer would come from the past, from childhood, from his father's birch slingshot. The winter of 1943 came fierce. Frosts down to -30, snow waist-deep, wind that cut the face like a razor. The Germans were strengthening their positions. They understood that in spring something big would begin. A Soviet offensive. They prepared, built pillboxes, mined roads. They reinforced garrisons, and the partisans were ordered to interfere. Tear up communications, blow up warehouses, destroy equipment, give the Germans no peace. But there was a problem that was becoming more serious with each month. Sentries. The German command understood. The main threat is at night. Partisans operate in darkness, therefore night security must be strengthened. There were more sentries. They began to be placed not only at buildings, but also on approaches, at crossroads, at bridges, at forest edges. And most importantly, sentries began to be placed in open places deliberately, so that one could not creep up to them. Sentry post, 360 degrees of view, 20 to 30 meters of bare ground or snow all around. No tree, no fence, no bush. To approach unnoticed is impossible. Neutralize the sentry. The operation is under threat. The sentry will hear footsteps, see shadows, shout, give a signal. The garrison will rise, searchlights, machine guns, dogs. Mikhailov summoned the reconnaissance group commanders. It was stuffy in the dugout. The kerosene lamp smoked. Smoke stung the eyes. "Comrades," said Mikhailov, "we have a problem."
Or rather, there is no problem. The problem is with the Germans. But this problem prevents us from creating other problems for the Germans. Someone chuckled. Mikhailov did not like jokes, but now even he smiled wearily. I am speaking seriously. 3 operations in 2 weeks have failed. We could not take out the sentries. December 1st, warehouse near Bolshaya Koren. December 2nd, bridge near Vysokoye. December 5th, headquarters in Dukovshchina. Everywhere the same thing, sentries in open places. To approach is the same as signing one's own death sentence. What about a sniper? Asked Dyatlov.
A shot in the dark. They are unlikely to understand where it came from. We tried, answered Mikhailov. December 7th, we sent Lomakov, good shooter, took out a sentry at the railroad with 1 shot to the head, and the Germans raised the alarm. They heard the shot, started firing in all directions. Flares, sweeps. Lomakov barely got away. Silence. Everyone understood. The problem was serious. What about a knife? Someone asked. The old way? The old way does not work, said Mikhailov. I am telling you, sentries are placed in open places, 30 meters of snow. Try to crawl. The sentry is not blind. He will see, give a signal. That is it. Voronin was silent. He sat in the corner, listened, thought. 30 meters. Kill a man silently from 30 meters. How? Sniper. Sound. Knife. Need to approach close. Bow? There are no bows. Crossbow? Where to get a crossbow? And an arrow still makes noise. Something silent, accurate, long range. What? The meeting ended. They decided for now to suspend major operations, deal with small things. Individual soldiers, vehicles, wires. What could be done without taking out sentries? Voronin left the dugout. The frost hit his face. He inhaled. The air burned his lungs. Stars, many stars. Winter, silence. Forest all around, snow crunching underfoot. Something silent. He walked to his dugout, thought, went through options. A sling? No, not accurate. Stones by hand? Ridiculous. Something else? That evening he did not find the answer. He went to bed. But sleep would not come. Images spun in his head. A sentry at his post, open space, snow, 30 meters. How to kill silently? How? On December 12th, Voronin was given an assignment to scout the German garrison in the village of Pegulina, find out the numbers, armament, where they slept, where the guard was. Voronin took 2 with him, Semyon Ryzhov and Alexander Makarov. Young men. Ryzhov was 20, Makarov 19. Both local, good fellows, diligent, learned quickly. They left at dusk. By 10 o'clock in the evening, they approached the village, lay down at the forest edge 300 meters away. They observed the village was small, about 20 houses. Germans about a platoon, 30 to 40 men. Headquarters in the former school. Warehouse in a barn by the church. Vehicles, 3 trucks. And sentries. 4 posts. 1 at the school, 1 at the barn, 2 on the outskirts of the village by the roads. Voronin looked through a homemade binoculars. The sentry at the school stood by the porch. One could approach him. There was cover. The sentry at the barn, the same. But the sentries on the roads. One stood at a crossroads in the middle of the road. Around him was emptiness, snow, moonlight. 25 to 30 meters in all directions. Nothing. No fence, no bush, only snow. Do you see Semyon? Whispered Voronin. That one on the road. How would you approach him? Ryzhov looked, was silent. No way, Comrade Senior Sergeant. He will see. For sure he will see. Exactly. No way. They observed for 2 hours, counted the guard change, watched how the sentries walked, where they stopped, what they did. The sentry at the crossroads was a German about 30 years old in a greatcoat. Helmet, submachine gun. He walked his post. 10 steps there, 10 back. Sometimes he stopped, looked into the darkness, listened. A professional, experienced, attentive. By midnight, Voronin gave the signal. We are leaving. They crawled back about 100 meters. They stood up, walked back into the forest. On the way back, Makarov asked, Comrade Senior Sergeant, will we go there on an assignment? I do not know, Sasha. We need to think. Maybe we will go. Maybe they will find another target. And that sentry on the road, how to take him out? Voronin did not answer because he did not know. Honestly, he did not know. They returned to camp at 3 o'clock in the morning. Voronin reported to Mikhailov, drew a diagram, showed where everything was. Mikhailov listened, looked at the diagram, frowned. I see, he said finally. So, for now we postpone. The target is difficult, we need to think it through. Yes, Comrade Commander. Voronin left. Fatigue was overwhelming. He wanted to sleep, but knew he would not fall asleep. In his head, the same image would spin. The sentry at the crossroads, open space, snow, moonlight. How? On December 17th, early in the morning, they brought a body to the camp, or rather what remained of it. Partisan Viktor Semyonov, 24 years old, scout from the 2nd Platoon. Good fighter, experienced. Voronin knew him. They worked together on several assignments. Semyonov was found by locals in the forest 3 kilometers from the village of Bolshoye Ustye. He was shot at point-blank range. Submachine gun burst to the chest. Mikhailov gathered the people, showed the body. No one spoke. They looked in silence. Then Mikhailov said, Semyonov went on an assignment at night, alone. He needed to take out a sentry at a German checkpoint on the Dukoshchina-Yartsevo road. He did not take him out. The sentry heard, shouted. Semyonov tried to leave, did not have time. They caught up, shot him. Silence. We will bury him in the evening, said Mikhailov. Dismissed. Voronin approached the body and looked. Semyonov's face was calm, eyes closed as if sleeping. Only the chest. On the chest was a large, dark, ragged hole from an automatic burst. Voronin turned away, went outside, breathed in the frosty air. He felt nauseous. Another one. Another good man. Another attempt to take out a sentry. Another failure. Another death. In the evening, they buried him, dug a hole in the frozen ground. It was hard to dig. The ground was like stone, but they dug it. They lowered Semyonov into the hole, wrapped in a tent cape. Mikhailov said a few words about the motherland, about duty, about how Semyonov died as a hero. But Voronin was not thinking about that. He was thinking. Semyonov died because there was no way to take out a sentry silently from a distance. Died because he tried to approach close up. Died because there was no solution. After the funeral, Voronin sat by the fire, did not want to go into the dugout, did not want to be with people, wanted to think. Ryzhov sat down next to him, was silent for a while, then said, Comrade Senior Sergeant, did you know Semyonov? I knew him. He fought well. Well. Then why was he killed? Voronin looked at Ryzhov. A young face, honest eyes. A boy who wants to believe that if you are a good soldier, you will survive. Semyon, said Voronin quietly. In war, they kill not only bad soldiers, They kill everyone, good and bad, experienced and green. They kill those who are unlucky, those who are in the wrong place at the wrong time. But you always come back. So far, I come back. So far, I am lucky. But luck is not forever. Sooner or later, it will run out. Rizhov was silent, then asked, "What should we do?" Voronin did not answer because he did not know what to do. He sat, looked into the fire, thought about Semyonov, about Petrov, about Zhukov, about Kovalyov, about all those who did not return. There must be a way, he thought. There must be a way to take out sentries silently, from a distance. Precisely, there must be. But what? The 23rd of December, Voronin went on another mission. They needed to scout a German column on the road between Dukovshchina and Yartsevo, find out how many vehicles, what they were carrying, when it passed. Rizhov and Dyatlov went with him. Dyatlov was older, more experienced. Voronin trusted him. They left in the evening. By 9, they reached the road. They lay down in the bushes 50 meters from the roadbed. They waited. The column passed at 11, 6 trucks, covered. What they were carrying was unclear. Guards, a dozen on the vehicle, plus 3 motorcyclists in front. Voronin memorized, counted, drew a diagram in his head. The column passed, fell silent. Silence. Only the wind in the branches. And then Dyatlov touched Voronin on the shoulder, pointed to the right with his hand. Voronin looked. On the road, about 100 meters from them, stood a German sentry, apparently a post by the road guarding a section. The German stood right on the shoulder. Around was snow, trees far away. You could not approach him. But Dyatlov was not pointing at the sentry. He was pointing at something else. To the right, about 200 meters away, a man came out of the forest. Slowly, cautiously, a partisan, apparently also observing the road or returning from a mission. Voronin tensed. The partisan was walking toward the road, did not see the sentry. And the sentry? The sentry stood with his back to the partisan, did not see him, not yet. A second, another. The partisan was 100 meters from the road. Walking cautiously, but walking. The sentry heard something, turned around, saw, froze, raised his automatic rifle. The partisan also froze, understood the danger. A second. They looked at each other. 100 meters between them. Snow. Moonlight. The sentry shouted in German, something like, "Halt!" or "Hands up!" The partisan ran back to the forest. The sentry fired. A burst. Tracer bullets slashed across the snow, missing. The partisan ran fast, 50 meters to the forest. The sentry fired again. Another burst. The partisan stumbled, fell, got up, ran further. The forest. The partisan disappeared into the forest. The sentry stopped shooting, stood, looked into the darkness. Then he took out a whistle, whistled 3 times, an alarm signal. Somewhere in the distance, lights came on. An engine started. The Germans got up, began a sweep. "We are leaving," whispered Voronin. "Quickly." They crawled away. They got up, ran through the forest, away from the road, away from the Germans. They made it. The Germans searched, but not there. They did not find them. By morning they returned to the camp. Voronin reported about the column. Mikhailov listened, nodded. "Good, well done, rest." Voronin went to his dugout. Fatigue. He wanted to sleep, but the picture kept spinning in his head. The sentry, the partisan, 100 meters, shots, whistle, alarm. A little more and the sentry would have hit. The partisan would have died. Another one. There must be a way, thought Voronin for the 100th time. There must be. Kill the sentry before he raises the alarm. Silently, from a distance. Precisely. But how? He lay down on the bunks, closed his eyes, tried to sleep. It did not work. Images flashed. The sentry, snow, shots. Semyonov, Petrov, Zhukov. Dead faces. Many dead faces. "Give me an answer," he whispered. "Give me a way to protect my own." The answer did not come, not that night. It would come in a week from where Voronin did not expect. From memory, from childhood, from a distant, peaceful life that no longer existed. But Voronin did not know this yet. He just lay in the darkness, listened to his comrade snoring, thought, searched, did not find. And somewhere deep inside, despair grew, hope dissolved. The conviction grew stronger that there was no solution. It did not exist. You cannot kill a person silently from 30 meters. You cannot. And that is all. He was wrong. The solution existed. Simple, ancient, deadly. And it was so close that Voronin had held it in his hands hundreds of times. In childhood, in another life, in a birch forge, where his father forged horseshoes and made toys for village boys. The 30th of December, 1942, evening, partisan camp in the forests of Smolensk region. Voronin sat by the fire alone. The rest were preparing to celebrate the new year. In the commander's dugout, they were going to celebrate. Modestly. Moonshine, potatoes. Maybe canned food, trophy songs. Voronin did not want to. What new year, war, people are dying. What holiday? He sat, looked into the fire, thought about his own, about sentries, about dead comrades, about the fact that there was no solution. The frost was getting stronger, 25 degrees, maybe 30. Smoke from the fire rose straight up. There was no wind. Silence. Only the crackling of firewood. And somewhere in the distance, laughter from Mikhailov's dugout. Voronin took out a pouch of earth from his pocket, squeezed it in his hand. Cold. Frozen. Mother, he thought. Where are you now? Are you alive? Katya, are you with you? He did not know. There had been no news for a long time. Maybe they are alive. Maybe not. In war, anything can happen. He imagined his mother, small, gray-haired, in a headscarf. He remembered how she saw him off in 41. She stood by the gate, cried, gave him a pouch of earth. Take care of yourself, son. He did not take care of himself or others. Petrov, Zhukov, Kovalyov, Semyonov. He did not take care of them. Voronin sighed, put the pouch back in his pocket, looked at the fire. And suddenly he remembered something completely different. From childhood, from 1928, he was 11 years old. Berezovsky, summer, heat. He sits in the yard by the forge. His father is fixing something. Anvil, hammer, sparks. And nearby lies a slingshot, new. His father had just made it. From a birch fork, rubber from an automobile inner tube, a leather patch in the middle for the stone. Here, son, said his father. Try it. Timofey took the slingshot, light, comfortable, in his hand, as if flying. He loaded a stone from the river, round, smooth, put it in the patch, pulled the rubber, aimed at a fence post. 15 meters, maybe 20, released. The stone whistled, hit the post, right on target. His father laughed. Well done, Timoka. You have a God-given eye. And then his father said a phrase that Timofey forgot. For 15 years he forgot. And now, by the fire in the partisan camp in 1942, he remembered. You know, son, From a good slingshot, you can even kill a person. If the stone is heavy, if the rubber is powerful, if you shoot at the head. David killed Goliath with such a thing, remember? Timofey did not believe it then. Kill a person with a slingshot. It is a toy. But his father was serious. This is not a toy, Timoka. This is a weapon. Ancient, but a weapon. Silent. And if your hands are straight, then deadly. Voronin froze by the fire in 1942. Froze. A slingshot. A silent weapon. His heart began to beat faster. His hands trembled. In his head something seemed to click, switched. And he saw not with his eyes but with his brain, as if someone turned on the light in a dark room. A slingshot. Only not a child's one. Powerful, with thick rubber. Not stones, something heavier. Lead, steel balls. 30 meters. Is it possible to hit from 30 meters? It is possible. If you aim, if you train, it is possible. Silently. A slingshot does not shoot, it throws. Quietly. Only the whistle of the projectile. A quiet whistle. At night he will not hear, especially if there is wind or snow falling. Will it kill if you hit the head? Yes. A helmet? What if you pierce the helmet? A heavy projectile. A steel ball, large, 20 to 30 grams, at high speed will pierce the helmet, pierce the skull. This is madness, thought Voronin. But something inside was screaming. This is not madness, this is the solution. The very solution he had been looking for 2 months. A slingshot, simple, ancient, deadly. Voronin jumped up. His heart was pounding, adrenaline, excitement. For the first time in months, hope. He ran to his dugout. He needed to think, calculate, understand if this was real. In the dugout it was dark, cold. He lit the lamp, sat in the bunks, took out paper, a pencil, began to draw. A slingshot, a handle, rubber, a patch for the projectile. Rubber. What kind? An ordinary inner tube will not work. Weak. It needs to be powerful. Where to get it? Aviation. Aviation harness. Used in airplanes or in anti-aircraft guns for shock absorption. Thick rubber, strong, elastic. Where to get it? From the Germans. A downed airplane or a trophy anti-aircraft gun, or exchange with other partisans. Projectile. What to use? Stones? No, not uniform, inaccurate. Lead. Cast lead balls. Possible but difficult. Need a mold. Melting. Steel. Steel balls from bearings. Ideal. Round, uniform, heavy. A ball with a diameter of 20 millimeters, 20 to 30 grams. Enough. Where to get them? Bearings from abandoned equipment, Soviet or German. Disassemble, take out the balls. Handle. Wood. Strong. Birch, oak with a fork. Voronin drew, sketched, estimated. In his head, calculations spun. Distance, speed, energy, penetration. A ball weighing 30 grams. Speed, suppose, 30 to 40 meters per second. Is it realistic with powerful rubber? Realistic. Impact energy, 30 grams, 40 meters per second, kinetic energy. He estimated in his mind. A lot. Enough to pierce a helmet if you hit at the right angle. Accuracy. Will he be able to hit a head from 30 meters? He must. He can. He has an eye, training. In childhood, he hit a coin from 20 paces. A head is bigger than a coin, he will hit. But he needs to train a lot, understand ballistics, correction for wind, for temperature, for distance. Voronin wrote, list of what is needed. Aviation harness, 2 meters. Bearings, 20 to 30 pieces. Birch fork, strong. Leather patch, strong. Strong thread or wire for fastening. Where to get all this? Harness from the technicians. They service abandoned equipment, disassemble for spare parts.
There should be aviation harness. Bearings there too, or on German vehicles. Disassemble. Wood in the forest he will find, cut out. Leather from an old belt or from German ammunition. Trophy. Thread, reinforced, strong. From the supply officers. Everything is realistic to get. Voronin looked at his drawing. A slingshot. Simple construction. Nothing complicated, but deadly. What if it does not work, he thought. What if the rubber breaks? What if it does not pierce the helmet? What if he does not hit from 30 meters? Then nothing. They will try again. He will correct, improve. But what if it works? Then he will get a weapon that no one has. Silent, accurate, deadly, capable of taking out sentries from 30 meters without a shot, without an alarm. This can change everything. Voronin folded the paper, hid it in his pocket, lay down on the bunks, tried to sleep. It did not work. In his head, thoughts, plans, calculations, possibilities swirled. A slingshot. Who would have thought? A child's toy. A weapon of war. His father was right. David really killed Goliath with a sling. A sling is the same as a slingshot, only a different construction. But the principle is the same. A throwing weapon, silent, ancient, and deadly. If your hands are straight. Voronin's hands were straight. The 1st of January 1943, morning. Voronin went to the technician of the detachment. Technician Vasily Ivanovich Kryukov, 52 years old, former mechanic from a factory. He serviced trophy equipment, repaired weapons, resourceful. He had everything. Vasily Ivanovich, said Voronin, I need rubber, powerful, aviation. Kryukov looked at him suspiciously. Why? I need it for business. For what business? Voronin was silent, did not want to tell yet. The idea was raw, unverified. He will tell. They will laugh. Kill Germans with a slingshot. Are you crazy? I cannot say, Vasily Ivanovich, but believe me, for an important matter. Kryukov chuckled. All right. You will not say. You will not say. I have a harness, 1.5 meters from a German Messerschmitt. They shot it down in November. I disassembled it. I pulled out the harness. I thought it would come in handy. It will come in handy, said Voronin. Will you give it? Yes, but then you will tell me. What for? I will tell, I promise. Kryukov brought the harness. Thick, gray, elastic rubber, powerful. Voronin stretched it. It stretches strongly, returns well. What is needed? Do you have bearings? Asked Voronin. Large balls from bearings. Bearings? Kryukov was surprised. Why bearings? I need balls. Steel, diameter about 20 millimeters. You are strange, Voronin. But I have them. I disassembled a German truck, pulled out bearings, put the balls separately, thought they would come in handy for something. He brought a jar, steel balls, shiny, round, uniform, 50 pieces, maybe more. Voronin took one, heavy, cold, put it on his palm, estimated the weight, 25 to 30 grams. Ideal. I will take 30 pieces, said Voronin. May I? Take them. They are lying idle anyway. Voronin took the balls, put them in a pouch, thanked him, left. Now wood. A birch fork. He went into the forest, searched for a long time. He needed an ideal fork, strong, symmetrical, without cracks, without knots.
He found it in an hour. A young birch on the edge, a fork a meter from the ground. Even, beautiful, ideal. He cut it down with an axe, cut off the branches, brought it to the camp, began to process it with a knife. Carefully removed the bark, smoothed the unevenness, made a handle. He worked for a long time, 3 hours, maybe 4. His fingers froze, but he did not stop. By evening, the handle was ready, even, smooth, lay comfortably in his hand. The fork was symmetrical, the horns of equal length, 15 centimeters each. Now the rubber. Cut the right length, fasten it to the horns. Voronin cut 2 pieces of harness, a meter each. He tied them to the horns of the fork tightly with reinforced thread. He wound many turns, tied knots, checked. It holds firmly. Now a patch for the projectile. In the middle between the 2 pieces of rubber. He had an old leather belt, German, trophy, thick, strong. He cut off a rectangular piece, 10 by 15 centimeters. He made holes at the edges, tied them to the rubber. Done. Voronin held his creation in his hands. A slingshot, large, powerful, not a toy, a weapon. Now to test it, he thought. The 2nd of January, morning, forest a kilometer from the camp. Voronin came alone, told no one, did not want them to see until he tested it, until he was convinced that it worked. He chose a place. A clearing, snow, a tree on the opposite edge, 30 meters, maybe 35.
He hung a target on the tree. A piece of cloth with a drawn circle, diameter about 20 centimeters, approximately the size of a head. He returned to the opposite edge of the clearing, took out the slingshot, took out a ball, put the ball in the leather patch, took the handle with his left hand, pulled the rubber with his right. Pulled hard to the limit, aimed at the circle on the cloth, released. The rubber whistled, the ball flew. Voronin heard the whistle, a quiet whistle, almost inaudible. The ball struck the tree past the circle, about 50 centimeters higher. A miss. Correction, thought Voronin. Need a correction, aim lower. He loaded again, aimed below the circle, 50 centimeters lower. Released the whistle. The ball flew, struck the fabric, the circle, the very center, hit. Voronin exhaled, his heart pounding, his hands trembling with excitement. Hit from 30 meters into a circle the size of a head. Hit. This works, he thought. This really works. He fired again. 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 10th. Out of 10 shots, he hit 7 times. 3 misses, 1 to the right, 2 to the left. The wind carried them off, or inaccurate aiming. Need to train, Voronin understood. Train a lot, understand how to make corrections. For wind, for distance, for temperature. But the main thing is, it works. The slingshot shoots accurately, silently, with a whistle. But the whistle is quiet. At night, with wind or snow, they won't hear. Now check penetration. Will the ball pierce a helmet? Voronin had a trophy German helmet, old, with a bullet hole, but it would do for a test. He hung the helmet on a tree branch at the same distance, 30 meters. Loaded the slingshot, aimed at the helmet, released. Whistle, impact, clang of metal. Voronin approached, looked. The helmet hung, a dent on it. A deep dent, about 1.5 centimeters in diameter, 3 to 4 millimeters deep. Didn't pierce, but the dent was serious. If it had been on a head, concussion at minimum, possibly skull fracture under the helmet. Not enough, thought Voronin. Need more, or aim more precisely at the face, under the helmet or at the temple. He removed the helmet, put it on a stump so that the lower part was open, the face, the chin. Stood at 30 meters, aimed at the open part, released. Whistle. Impact. The helmet flew off the stump.
Voronin approached, picked up the helmet, looked. A dent on the lower edge where it protects the face. The metal was bent. If this had been a person's face, the jaw would be shattered or the throat pierced. Fatal, or nearly fatal. It works, thought Voronin. If you hit the open parts, the face, the neck, the temple, it works. He trained until evening, shot again and again, got used to the slingshot, felt it, understood how the projectile flew, what correction was needed, how the wind affected it. By evening, out of 10 shots he hit 9, 1 miss, and that due to a sharp gust of wind. This was enough. This was good. Now test in practice, thought Voronin. On a real sentry, a real post. But first, he needed to tell Mikhailov. 3rd of January, evening, the commander's dugout. "Comrade Commander, I have a solution," said Voronin. Mikhailov raised his eyes from the map, looked at Voronin. "Solution to what?" "The problem with sentries. I know how to take them out silently, from a distance. Precisely." Mikhailov put down his pencil. "I'm listening." Voronin took out the slingshot from behind his back, placed it on the table. Mikhailov looked, was silent, then said, "What is this? A slingshot?" "Yes, Comrade Commander, a slingshot, but unusual. Powerful, with aviation rubber. Shoots steel balls from bearings. Silently, accurately. From 30 meters I hit the head. 9 shots out of 10. Mikhailov was silent, looked at the slingshot, then at Voronin, then again at the slingshot. "Are you serious?" he asked finally. "Absolutely serious, Comrade Commander. I tested it. It works. The ball pierces soft tissue, breaks bones. If you hit the head, it's fatal. If the helmet, concussion at minimum. If the face, the neck, the temple, it will kill for sure." Mikhailov took the slingshot in his hands, turned it, pulled the rubber, chuckled. "Powerful," he admitted. "But the slingshot is a children's toy." "It was a children's toy," said Voronin. "Now it's a weapon. A silent weapon. David killed Goliath with a sling. A sling is the same as a slingshot. The principle is the same." Mikhailov thought for a long time. Voronin waited. His heart was pounding. If the commander doesn't believe, it's all for nothing. If he forbids it, it's the end. "Show me," said Mikhailov. Finally. "Show me how it shoots." 4th of January, morning. The same clearing in the forest. Voronin, Mikhailov, Dyatlov, and 3 more commanders watching skeptically. On the tree, a target, a circle, 30 meters. Voronin loads, pulls, aims, releases. Whistle. Impact. The ball in the center of the circle. Silence. "Again," says Mikhailov. Voronin shoots again. Once. Second. Third. 5th. 10th. 10 shots, 9 hits in the circle, 1 nearby, slightly to the left. Mikhailov approaches the tree, looks at the target, touches the holes, turns to Voronin. "And will it pierce a helmet?" Voronin hangs the helmet, shoots. The helmet rings, a dent. Mikhailov approaches, looks, touches the dent. "Didn't pierce," he says. "Not the helmet, no," agrees Voronin. "But if in the face, the neck, the open part." He hangs the helmet again, aims at the lower edge, shoots. The helmet flies off. Mikhailov approaches, looks at the dent, at the bent metal, is silent, thinks, then turns to the others. "What do you say?" Dyatlov first. "If it works, then this is a solution. Silent, at a distance. Just what we need." Another commander, said Gayev. But this is a slingshot, as if we are children. Beating Germans with slingshots. And what's the difference? What to beat them with? Intervened the third, Lomakov. The main thing is the result. If it kills, then it's a weapon. Let him shoot even with a bow, as long as it works. Mikhailov nodded. I agree. He looked at Voronin. All right, we'll try. In practice, you'll go on a mission, take out a sentry with this thing. If it works, we'll make more. If not, well, at least we tried. Voronin exhaled. They allowed it. They believed, gave a chance. Thank you, Comrade Commander. I won't let you down. Don't let us down, said Mikhailov seriously. Because if it doesn't work, the sentry will raise the alarm, and you'll stay there. Understood. Understood, Comrade Commander. 8th of January, night. Village of Sosnovka, German garrison. Voronin lay in the snow 100 meters from the village. Nearby Ryzhov and Makarov. They observed, counted, watched. The sentry stood at the crossroads at the entrance to the village. Open place, snow around. 25 meters of bare ground. Not a bush, not a tree. The German was young, about 20 or so, in a greatcoat, helmet, rifle on his shoulder. Walking back and forth, 10 steps, 10 back. Stops, looks into the darkness. Listens. See, whispers Voronin to Ryzhov. There he is, the target. I see, Comrade Senior Sergeant. And are you sure? Sure, interrupts Voronin. It works, you saw. At the range you saw. But there it was a tree, and here it's a person. Don't think about it. This is a German, an enemy. He would kill us without hesitation. Ryzhov is silent. Makarov is also silent. They are tense. First time seeing this. A slingshot in war against a sentry. Voronin takes out the slingshot, checks the rubber. Everything is in order. Takes out a ball, heavy, cold. Places it in the pouch. Cover me, he whispers. If something goes wrong, shoot, raise the alarm. We leave. Yes, Comrade Senior Sergeant. Voronin begins to crawl forward toward the village. Carefully, slowly. The snow crunches under his elbows. Quietly crunches, barely audible. He crawls about 50 meters, stops behind a snowdrift. From here to the sentry about 30 meters, maybe 25. Good distance. Working distance. Voronin slowly rises to his knees behind the snowdrift. The sentry doesn't see him, standing with his back turned. Voronin takes out the slingshot, loads. Ball in the pouch, takes the handle in his left hand, right hand pulls the rubber, aims at the back of the sentry's head where the helmet ends, where the neck is open. Breathes evenly, calmly. Heart beats, but hands don't tremble. Hands are steady. Aim is clear. The sentry turns facing Voronin, doesn't see him. Too dark. The snowdrift covers. Voronin waits. Waits for the sentry to turn his back again. 1 second. 2. 3. The sentry turns his back to Voronin. Now. Voronin releases. Whistle. Quiet whistle, almost inaudible. Dissolves in the night. The ball flies 30 meters. 1 second. Maybe less. Impact. Dull impact. Like a stone falling in snow. The sentry flinches. Hands rise to his head. The rifle falls, clangs on the ground. The sentry takes a step. Another. Staggers. Falls face forward in the snow. Doesn't scream. Doesn't moan. Just falls and lies. Motionless lies. Silence. Only the wind and snow crunches under branches.
Voronin froze, doesn't breathe, watches. The sentry doesn't move, lies. Hit, thinks Voronin. Killed from 30 meters with one shot. Silently. He waits. 1 minute. Another. The sentry doesn't rise, doesn't move. Dead or unconscious, but the result is the same. No alarm, no scream, no shots. Silence. Voronin crawls back to Ryzhov and Makarov. They look at him, eyes wide. Don't believe. You killed him, whispers Ryzhov. Killed with a slingshot, whispers Voronin. With one shot. It works. Let's go. They crawl back into the forest, away from the village.
After 500 meters, they stand up, walk at a quick pace, look back. The village is behind, quiet, dark, no alarm. By dawn, they return to camp. Voronin goes to Mikhailov, knocks on the dugout door. Come in. Voronin enters. Comrade Commander, mission accomplished. Sentry taken out. Silently. There was no alarm. Mikhailov looks at him. Looks for a long time, then slowly nods. Good. Very good. Voronin, pause. So this really works? It works, Comrade Commander. Verified. Mikhailov stands up, approaches Voronin, looks him in the eyes. Then we need to make more such slingshots for other scouts. Can you? I can, Comrade Commander. Need materials, rubber bands, bearings, wood, but everything is really obtainable. We'll get them. Kryukov will help. You'll make about 5 for the best shooters. Teach them. They'll take out sentries silently. This will give us an advantage. A big advantage. Voronin nodded. Yes, Comrade Commander. I'll do it. He left the dugout. Fatigue overwhelmed him. He hadn't slept all night, but it felt good. For the first time in months, truly good. Solution found. Weapon works. Now he can save the lives of his comrades, brothers in arms. The slingshot is a simple weapon, ancient, but deadly, and most importantly, his own. What he invented, created, tested. Now others will use it, and the Germans will be in fear. Sentries will fall silently, without shots, without alarm. And no one will understand how, from where, what is killing them. Until they understand, but by that time it will be too late. 15th of January 1943, night, village of Bolshaya Korenka, German ammunition depot. Voronin and 3 partisans, Makarov, Ryzhov, Lomakov. Mission, blow up the depot, but first take out the sentries. 3 sentries. Take them out silently. Voronin has a slingshot. Makarov also has one, a second slingshot. Voronin made it 3 days ago, taught Makarov to shoot. Sasha learned quickly, hit 8 shots out of 10. Good. Enough. They lay down at the edge of the forest, looked at the village. The depot. An old barn. Near it, 3 sentries. 1 at the entrance, 2 around the perimeter. Walking back and forth. Open positions. Can't approach them. Only from afar. Silently. Sasha, whispers Voronin. See the one on the left? The one walking by the fence? I see. He's yours. I'll take the one on the right. The one at the entrance on the count of 3. Understood. Understood, Comrade Senior Sergeant. Good. Let's crawl. They crawl forward toward the village. Crawl 100 meters. Lie down behind snowdrifts. To the sentries, 30 meters, maybe a bit less.
Voronin takes out the slingshot, loads. Ball in the pouch, pulls the rubber, aims at the sentry at the entrance. The German stands sideways, profile visible. Face. Helmet. Aims at the face, slightly below the helmet, at the cheek. There the bone is thin, will pierce. Looks back at Makarov. Makarov is ready. Slingshot pulled, aiming at his sentry. Voronin nods. 1, 2, 3. They release simultaneously. 2 whistles. Quiet whistles, almost inaudible. The wind carries them away. 2 impacts, dull impacts. The sentry at the entrance grabs his face, falls to his knees, falls quietly, doesn't scream, collapses on his side, lies. The sentry by the fence flinches, takes a step, staggers, falls face in the snow, doesn't move. 2 sentries, 2 shots, 2 hits. 1 remains, the 3rd. He's on the other side of the barn, walking, doesn't see the fallen, doesn't see yet. Voronin quickly reloads, crawls to the right to see the 3rd. Sees. The German stands at the corner of the barn with his back to Voronin, looking the other way. Voronin aims. Back of the head, where the helmet ends. Neck is open. Releases. Whistle. Impact. The German jerks, hands to his neck, falls forward on the ground, doesn't get up. 3 sentries, 3 dead. Silently. No alarm. Voronin waves his hand. Rizhov and Lomakov crawl forward to the depot. Plant explosives. Light the fuse. Crawl back. All 4 crawl away into the forest. Crawl quickly. Explosion in 2 minutes. Roar. Flame. The barn flies into the air. Fire. Smoke. Secondary explosions. Cartridges exploding. Germans run out of houses, shout, run to the depot. Too late. The depot is gone. Only burning debris, and the partisans are already in the forest, walking at a quick pace away, home. Operation successful, no losses, depot destroyed. And all thanks to the slingshot. 3 slingshots. Silent weapons. 23rd of January, village of Vysokaya. Bridge over a stream, German guard post. Voronin and Dyatlov. Mission. Mine the bridge. Blow it up when a German column passes. But at the bridge, 2 sentries, 1 on each side. Open posts. Can't approach. Both partisans have slingshots. Voronin already made 5, taught others. Dyatlov shot well, hit 9 out of 10. Experienced hunter. Accurate eye. They crawled from 2 sides. Voronin from the left. Dyatlov from the right. Each aims at his sentry. Synchronously, without command, just feel it. Release. 2 whistles, 2 impacts, 2 sentries fall almost simultaneously. Silence. No one heard, no one noticed. Voronin and Dyatlov run to the bridge, plant mines under the deck, under the supports, hide the wires, unwind the spool, go into the forest. Wait. Wait 2 hours. A column comes. 6 trucks. Germans drive calmly, don't expect trouble. First truck on the bridge, second, third. Explosion. Voronin presses the lever. The bridge flies up. Roar, flame. Vehicles fall into the water. Germans scream, shoot. Shoot in all directions. But there are no partisans. Already gone. Left. Quietly left. Silently. 1st of February. Village of Gorleya. German headquarters. Voronin with a group of 6 people. Mission. Remove documents from German headquarters, capture or photograph. But headquarters is guarded. 4 sentries around the perimeter. Open posts,
all the same. 4 partisans have slingshots. Voronin, Makarov, Dyatlov, Lomakov. Best shooters. They crawl from 4 sides, each to his sentry. 30 meters. Aim. Wait for the signal. Voronin whistles quietly. Once. Signal. 4 whistles, almost simultaneously. 4 impacts. 4 sentries fall, as if mowed down. Fall silently. The group bursts into the house. Headquarters. Officers sleeping. Didn't expect it. Partisans tie them up, take documents, maps, orders, ciphers, take everything. Run out into the forest. Leave quietly. Germans discover the loss in the morning. Too late. Documents already with the partisans, already passed up to command in Moscow. In January and February of 1943, Voronin took out 12 German sentries. Personally took out with a slingshot, silently. Not one raised an alarm, not one screamed. Makarov, 7 sentries. Dyatlov, 6. Lomakov, 4. Other scouts whom Voronin trained, 8 more. Total 37 German sentries in 2 months without a single shot, without a single alarm. The Germans began to get nervous. Sentries were afraid to stand at posts, especially at night, especially in open places. They didn't understand what was killing them. No bullet sound, no shots, just the sentry falls. Dead. Pierced skull or smashed face or shattered jaw. German counterintelligence tried to understand, searched for snipers, searched for partisans with silencers, searched for saboteurs. Didn't find them, because they were looking for the wrong thing. They were searching for complex weapons, technological, modern. But the weapon was simple, ancient. A slingshot, a children's toy transformed into an instrument of death. By March, Mikhailov reported to command about the new weapon, about the slingshots, about the results. Command became interested. They sent an officer to look, to verify. Voronin demonstrated, shot, hit targets, explained. The officer was impressed, reported upward. An order came to manufacture slingshots for other partisan detachments, to train fighters, to spread the experience. Voronin fulfilled it, made 20 slingshots, conducted training, taught other commanders, demonstrated technique, shared experience. Slingshots went to other detachments, to other sections of the front, to Belorussia, to Ukraine, to the Bryansk forests. Everywhere they worked, everywhere they eliminated sentries, silently, accurately, lethally. The Germans never understood until the end of the war, did not understand what was killing them, how they were being killed. And Voronin continued. Went on assignments, shot from the slingshot, eliminated sentries, saved comrades. By April of 1943, his count stood at 23 German sentries, personally killed, with the slingshot, silently. 23 people who did not raise the alarm, did not cry out, simply fell. And thanks to this, dozens of successful operations, hundreds of saved partisan lives, tons of destroyed German ammunition. All this thanks to the slingshot. A simple slingshot made from a birch fork and aviation rubber tubing. A weapon invented by Timofey Voronin, scout, partisan, a man with golden hands and a precise eye. A man who remembered childhood and transformed memories into a solution. On the 10th of March, 1943, an officer from the headquarters of the Western Front arrived at the camp of the partisan detachment named after Chapayev, Major Kirillov, middle-aged, stern, with the Order of the Red Star on his tunic. Mikhailov met him at the dugout, reported on the situation, on combat work, on the new weapon. "Where is Senior Sergeant Voronin?" asked Kirillov. "Here, Comrade Major,"
answered Voronin, standing at attention. Kirilov looked at him, looked attentively, appraisingly.
So you invented this slingshot?
Yes, Comrade Major. Show me. Voronin showed the slingshot, the construction, explained the principle, materials, manufacturing technique. Kirilov listened, asked questions, precise questions, professional. And will you demonstrate shooting? I will, Comrade Major. They went to the range, that same clearing where Voronin had first tested the slingshot. Voronin shot, 10 shots, 10 hits, into a circle at 30 meters, all 10. Kirilov was silent, watched, then approached the target, touched the holes, measured the distance in paces, returned to Voronin. Impressive, he said. Command is interested. They want to implement it in other detachments. But first they need guarantees. Does this really work in combat, not only at the range? Mikhailov intervened. It works, Comrade Major. In 2 months, Voronin personally eliminated 12 sentries, other scouts another 25.
Not a single failure, not a single alarm raised. 37 sentries in 2 months? Kirilov raised an eyebrow. A serious number. Serious, Comrade Major. And this is only our detachment. If we implement it in all partisan formations... Kirilov nodded. I understand. Good. Voronin, can you train others from other detachments? I can, Comrade Major. How much time is needed to teach a person to shoot? Depends on the person. If they have an eye, if they have shooting experience, a week, maybe 10 days. If a novice, 2 weeks. 3. And to manufacture a slingshot? 2 to 3 days per unit, if materials are available. The longest part is finding the right wood, preparing the rubber. Kirilov thought, paced back and forth, thought aloud. So here's what. Voronin manufactures 10 slingshots, trains 10 of the best scouts from neighboring detachments. They return to their units, teach their own, manufacture new slingshots. In a month, we can have 100 trained fighters. In 2, 300. He stopped, looked at Voronin. Can you manage? We can manage, Comrade Major. Good. Then I order the organization of a training center here. Voronin, senior instructor. Mikhailov provides materials and personnel. First group, 10 people, will arrive in 3 days. Questions? None, Comrade Major. Excellent. Then get to work. Training began on the 15th of March. First group, 10 scouts from different detachments, experienced fighters, but had never held slingshots in their hands. Voronin taught, patiently taught, demonstrated technique, explained ballistics, trained. 8 out of 10 grasped it quickly. After a week, they hit 7 shots out of 10. After 10 days, 8 out of 10. Sufficient for combat work. 2 learned more slowly, poor eyesight, or simply did not feel the weapon. Voronin trained them longer, 2 weeks. In the end, he taught them, not perfectly, but acceptably. On the 25th of March, the first group departed for their detachments, with slingshots, with instructions, with the assignment to train their own. On the 1st of April, the second group arrived, 15 people. Voronin taught again, the same course, the same exercises. By the end of April, he had trained another 25 people from 7 different detachments. Geography expanded. Smolensk region, Kaluga, Oryol, Bryansk. News came back good. Slingshots worked everywhere. Sentries were eliminated. Operations proceeded successfully. From the Bryansk forests came a message. Detachment Death to Fascism in a month eliminated 16 sentries with slingshots, without losses. From Kaluga region, the detachment named after Kutuzov blew up 3 warehouses, having previously eliminated 9 sentries. Silently. From Oryol, a reconnaissance group captured a German officer right from headquarters. Eliminated 4 guards with slingshots, no one heard. Command was pleased. Major Kirilov came twice more. Brought commendations. Brought materials. Rubber tubing, bearings, tools. In June, a colonel arrived from the central headquarters of the partisan movement, Colonel Stroyev, with a group of officers. They observed, verified. Voronin shot, demonstrated construction, explained. The colonel was impressed. "Brilliant," he said. "Simply brilliant. A weapon from improvised materials, silent, effective, exactly what is needed for partisan warfare." He turned to the accompanying officers. "Include in the instruction. Section, special armament of partisan detachments, description of construction, application technique, training methodology." Author, Senior Sergeant Voronin, Timofey Vasilievich. "Yes, Comrade Colonel." The colonel looked at Voronin. "You will be recommended for an award, Sergeant. Order of the Red Star, for inventing the weapon and personal courage." "I served the Soviet Union, Comrade Colonel." "And you serve well."
Keep it up. Voronin received the order in August in a ceremonial setting before the detachment formation. Mikhailov read the order, pinned the star on his tunic. Fighters applauded, congratulated. Voronin stood embarrassed. It was unusual. He was accustomed to working in the shadows, in the forest, at night, quietly. But here was a parade, an award, attention. After formation, Ryzhov approached him. "Comrade Senior Sergeant, congratulations. You earned it." "Thank you, Semyon." "You know how many lives you saved with your slingshot? Hundreds, maybe thousands." Voronin was silent. "I don't know, Semyon. I didn't count. Just did what I could." "But it's true. If not for you, we would still be losing people. Every operation loses. And now we can eliminate sentries. Safely. Quietly." Voronin nodded. "Yes, it's true. Losses decreased. Sharply decreased. Before, every second operation ended in combat, alarm, pursuit, and often losses. Now it's different. We eliminated sentries silently, did the job, left without combat, without pursuit, without losses. The statistics were eloquent. Before the appearance of slingshots, average operation success rate, 60%. Losses, 20% of personnel per quarter. After the appearance of slingshots, success rate 90%. Losses, 5% per quarter. The numbers spoke for themselves. By autumn of 1943, Voronin's slingshots armed scouts in more than 50 partisan detachments. In Smolensk, Kaluga, Oryol, Bryansk, Kursk regions, in Belorussia, in Ukraine. Total number of eliminated sentries, more than 300. No one counted the exact figure, but more than 300 for certain. The Germans began changing tactics. Sentries were posted in pairs, so one could cover the other. They began building bunkers for sentries, with firing slits, with roofs. But this helped little. Partisans adapted. Voronin developed tactics for paired posts. 2 shooters, synchronized shot. It worked. Bunkers also did not save. The sentry would exit the bunker to patrol the territory. At that moment, vulnerable. The shooter waited, patiently waited. The sentry exited, received a ball to the head, fell. German command was confused. They understood something was wrong, something was killing their sentries. But what? In October, the Germans finally figured it out. They found a slingshot on a killed partisan, studied it, reported. In German documents, an entry appeared. Partisans use primitive projectile weapons of the sling or slingshot type. Silent, effective at distances up to 30 meters. Strengthening of guard duty recommended. Use of paired posts. construction of shelters. But it was too late. The method took hold, spread, became standard tactics. In the winter of 1943 to 1944, Voronin continued working as an instructor, trained new groups, improved the design, experimented with materials. He tried using lead bullets instead of steel balls, cast them himself from German cartridge cases. They turned out heavy, penetration capability better, but accuracy worse. Bullets not uniform, center of gravity shifted. He returned to steel balls. They were better, uniform, round, accurate. He tried lengthening the rubber, increasing tension. Projectile speed increased, but accuracy dropped. Too powerful recoil, too difficult to control. He returned to standard length, 1 meter, 1 meter 20 per side. Optimal. He tried different wood species. Oak, too heavy. Aspen, too soft. Cracks. Birch, ideal. Strong, light, flexible. All improvements he recorded, made drawings, supplemented the instruction so others could use the experience. He himself went on assignments rarely, mainly taught. But sometimes, when the most experienced shooter was required, Mikhailov sent Voronin. In February of 1944, an operation to capture a German engineer, a mining specialist, needed alive. Headquarters guarded by 8 sentries. Voronin with a group eliminated all 8 simultaneously. 4 shooters, 2 sentries each, synchronized, quietly. The engineer was taken alive without a shot. In March, sabotage on the railroad, a bridge under guard, 6 posts. Voronin led the operation, 6 shooters. Each eliminated his sentry. The bridge was blown up. A train with tanks derailed. 8 Panther tanks destroyed. In April, Voronin's last assignment with the Slingshot. Village of Pogorelaya, German supply depot. Ammunition, fuel, provisions. Guard, 10 sentries. Voronin with a group eliminated all 10, one after another, methodically, quietly. The depot was burned. This was Voronin's 23rd sentry, personally eliminated with the Slingshot. 23rd and last, because in May of 1944, Voronin was recalled from the detachment, sent to the instructor's school in Moscow to teach intelligence officers techniques of silent sentry elimination by the new method. Mikhailov saw him off, shook his hand. "Thank you, Voronin, for your service, for the invention, for the saved lives." "I served the Soviet Union, Comrade Commander." "You serve well. Will you return to us?" "I don't know, as command decides." "Well then, good luck. Take care of yourself." Voronin left for Moscow, for the school, to teach others what he had invented himself. And his Slingshot remained in the detachment, in other detachments, in the hands of dozens, hundreds of scouts who continued eliminating sentries. Silently, accurately, lethally. They continued until the end of the war. Timofey Vasilyevich Voronin met Victory Day in Moscow in the rank of Master Sergeant, with 2 orders of the Red Star and the medal Partisan of the Patriotic War, First Class. He was not at the parade, did not march across Red Square. He was at the instructor's school, teaching young officers what he had learned himself in the forests of Smolensk region, under bullets, in snow and cold. When victory was announced, he stood at the window, looked at Moscow, heard the salute, saw the lights. People in the streets shouted, embraced, cried from happiness. Voronin did not cry. He simply stood, thought about the war, about comrades, about those who did not live to see this day, about Petrov, about Zhukov, about Kovalyov, about Semyonov, about dozens of others whose faces he remembered, whose names he knew. We won, he thought, but at what cost? After the war, Voronin returned to Vyazma,
The city was destroyed. Berioski, his native village, had burned. Nothing remained. Ashes, charred logs, crows over the wasteland. Parents gone. Killed in 1941, mother and father. Shot by Germans for connection with partisans. Sister Katya he found alive. She had fought in another detachment, survived, returned. They met, embraced for a long time, silently. Words were not needed.
Voronin got a job at the factory, that same agricultural machinery factory where he had worked before the war, as a lathe operator. His hands remembered, his eye remembered, precision to a tenth. He married in 1947 to Anna Petrovna, a teacher, a good woman, kind. She understood, did not ask about the war, did not intrude into his soul. Children, 2. Son Vasily in honor of his father, daughter Maria in honor of his mother. They lived modestly, worked, raised children, like everyone, like millions of Soviet families who survived the war, rebuilt the country, continued to live. Voronin never told about the slingshot, did not boast, did not write memoirs. Simply lived, worked, was an ordinary person. Only sometimes, in rare moments, he took from the closet an old box. There lay awards, orders, medals, photographs of the detachment, and the slingshot. That very one, the first, birch with aviation rubber tubing. He took it in his hands, felt the weight, remembered. Forest, snow, frost, night. Sentry at post, whistle of the ball, silence after. Then he put it back, closed the box, returned to life. In 1972, Timofey Vasilyevich Voronin died. Heart attack, quickly, did not suffer. At home, in his own bed, in Vyazma. He was 55 years old. The funeral was modest. Family, colleagues from the factory, several frontline comrades, those who survived, those who could come, and 11 more unfamiliar elderly men. They came from somewhere far away, stood apart, were silent. When the coffin was lowered into the ground, they saluted military style, precisely. After the funeral, one of them approached Vasily, Voronin's son. "Excuse me," he said. "Are you the son of Timofey Vasilyevich?" "Yes." "And you are?" "I am Mikhail Sergeyevich Orlov. I fought in the Bryansk forests as a partisan scout. Your father, he taught me to shoot from a slingshot." In 1943, I eliminated 17 German sentries thanks to him, thanks to his invention. Vasily was silent, did not know what to say. Father had never told about the slingshot, about sentries. "We are all here," continued Orlov, indicating the other elderly men. "We fought in different detachments, but all used your father's slingshots. All eliminated sentries. All survived thanks to this. When we learned that Timofey Vasilyevich died, we decided to come, to see him off, to pay our debt." He took out an old photograph, worn, faded, handed it to Vasily. In the photograph, a group of partisans, about 20 people, young, in tunics, with weapons. In the foreground, a captured German tank. On the armor, in large chalk letters written, "Thank you, Voronin." Vasily looked at the photograph, then at Orlov. "Keep it," said Orlov. "This is for you, so you remember. Your father saved hundreds of lives, maybe thousands, with his invention, with his mind, with his hands." Vasily took the photograph, clenched it in his hand, nodded, unable to speak, a lump in his throat. That photograph is still kept in the Voronin family, in Vyazma, together with the orders, with the medals, and with the slingshot, that very birch one, with the aviation rubber.
The design that Timofey Voronin invented was included in training manuals for reconnaissance units. The description exists in the archives of the Ministry of Defense in the section on special weapons of partisan formations. The author is listed as Sergeant Voronin TV. Exactly how many German sentries were taken down with Voronin slingshots is not precisely known. Official statistics were not kept, but according to indirect data, more than 500. For the period from January 1943 to May 1945, 500 sentries who did not raise the alarm, did not cry out, did not shoot, simply fell silently. And thanks to this, thousands of successful partisan operations, tens of thousands of tons of destroyed German cargo, hundreds of saved partisan lives. All this thanks to a simple slingshot made from a birch fork, with aviation rubber and steel balls from bearings. A weapon that does not shoot, that does not thunder, that whistles quietly in the night and kills. The ancient weapon of David against Goliath, of the partisan against the invader. Simple, deadly, effective. Remember, at the beginning I spoke about 23 German sentries, about silent deaths, about the slingshot that the Germans could not understand. Now you know how it was, who did it, and why it worked. Sometimes the solution comes not from textbooks, not from technical manuals, not from complex calculations. Sometimes the solution comes from memory, from childhood, from a simple birch forge where a father made toys for village boys. Sometimes the most deadly weapon is the simplest. And sometimes, one person with the right idea can change the course of dozens, hundreds of battles, save hundreds of lives, influence the outcome of the war. Locally, on their own scale, but really. Timofey Vasilyevich Voronin was not a general, was not a weapons designer, was not a scientist. He was a scout, a partisan, a lathe operator with golden hands and a precise eye. A person who remembered, invented, made, tested, and taught others. A person who turned a children's amusement into a weapon of war and thereby saved hundreds of lives. His slingshot is not displayed in museums. They do not write about it in history textbooks. It is not on posters and monuments, but it existed, worked, killed enemies, saved our own. And the memory of it is alive in the archives, in the memoirs of veterans, in family albums, on a worn photograph where on the armor of a tank is written in chalk, "Thank you, Voronin." Number